16. All right, let's start with the resistance pattern. This is the refusal of spirit and unforgiving towards oneself and others. And the unforgiveness part really comes through the analogy of having like a cage around one's heart. So this is about the flow of love and of acceptance. So in the beginning, this is in the resistance pattern, it's the refusal of the spiritual. It's completely focused on the physical realm. It's completely focused on material things, and sees that love and opening of the heart is down the chain of priorities. When in actuality, the genius town is to bring spiritual knowledge into common society. And that could be through whichever way resonates with you, but it's bringing these principles of mind, body, spirit into the common society, into a way that people can understand without going off the deep end with hard to understand words and concepts and phrases. So your great gift and your genius talent, and the 16 is always, the 16 is always matched with the 7. So the 7 is magnetizing and drawing communities and groups together. The 16 is, when you have that community together, the 16 is sharing the spiritual knowledge in a common way for society. Very important. But first, the cage around one's heart needs to be dissolved. And there can be a lot of anger underneath the surface with the 16. It's like an anger to block love from others, and sometimes to hurt others. It's like holding a lot of grievances and directing anger against other people. And so the notion of this is like, well, I wouldn't be angry if I wasn't surrounded by angry people. The key here is to look within. I mean, what I just shared was like the limiting belief. So the key to reverse that limiting belief is looking within and noticing the ways that you don't love yourself. Because those will be directly connected to the ways that you don't love other people, or you can't feel, or that it's difficult to feel love for other people. And as you do that, that's melting the cage around the heart. And as that happens, a person opens up to their spiritual nature. And as that happens, just like these arrows, the spiritual knowledge starts flooding through. It starts flooding through, grounding into society. And grounding just means acclimating into society, integrating into society. And that's what ultimately great leaders have always done of helping humanity raise in consciousness, is taking principles that were really esoteric and hard to understand and bringing them down into society for people to understand. And so you in your own way, you in your own business, doesn't mean you need to be like a spiritual guru or anything like that. It's about taking timeless principles of mind, body, and spirit and evolution of our consciousness and your own way of sharing that with people. And it could be through many modalities, any modality. There's great spiritual principles that are beneficial for people that are found through martial arts or craftsmanship, creation, woodworking. There's 1,000 different channels for the mind, body, spirit connection to flow through. And the 16 is all about taking that energy and channeling it through for common society to understand. Because the flip side of this is like, say there's profound mind, body, spirit principles that perhaps previously you had to, go through years of schooling or study and all these things. It's like that's the old route to go. The new route is taking these same principles but distilling them down in ways that the common society can understand without having to go through such hoops that really aren't necessary. And This can only happen when a person is really opened up to that talent of themselves, because to make something simple is incredibly difficult. To communicate something in common society is a great sign of mastery. It's so easy to make something complex. It takes true mastery to communicate a complex thing in a simple way. And that's really the connection here. So in your business and the genius talent, you look at this as this underlying hidden talent to take profound concepts that help people evolve mind, body, and spirit and make it very accessible. But first, what needs to happen is to recognize that, because the resistance pattern will do everything it can to keep you away from that. It will say, just focus on the material things, just focus on the material things, the physical things, and leave the spirit stuff till later. And it'll say, you don't need to focus on, your heart and loving yourself. That's all soft. That's actually the pathway through your greatest talent, your greatest power with the 16.